Okay, I'm delighted to be joined. And now, thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
The Democratic Leadership Etymology course. Okay, well, I'm proud to be joined by Senators Durbin, Murray, and Stabenow. And as you know, a lot's happening this week. It's a busy week. Last night, we passed the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. Hopefully later today, we will pass the Postal Reform Bill. It looks pretty certain. And before the end of the week, we are aiming to pass a government funding omnibus bill. Republicans and Democrats are very, very close to finalizing the agreement. I expect there will be text released in a few hours, and we're working very hard on a few last-minute issues, cyber and VAWA. On VAWA, I am pushing very hard to get it in. I'm hopeful that it will, and I think there's a real good chance that VAWA will end up in the bill, which will be another significant legislative accomplishment of this Senate in a bipartisan way, and Joni Ernst has been very, very helpful on that issue. The omnibus has three major parts. One, more than $12 billion in assistance for Ukraine, as Ukrainians fight bravely off Putin's illegal invasion. More than $15 billion for COVID preparedness funding, and many policy changes that are included in the omnibus, including the President's moonshot for cancer research and an increase in Pell Grants. The omnibus comes at a crucial moment. With the war in Europe and the return to normal after the pandemic, we have to confront challenges that we haven't seen in a very long time. The events in Ukraine have necessitated action, and we need to get this done and get it done very fast. The proposal that we've made on Ukraine is strong. We also have $15 billion in COVID preparedness funding. That is a really smart investment. That is just as important as any part of this bill, even though it doesn't get the attention. The odds are that we cannot discount the fact that a new variant can come. And if we have learned a lot from the three variants, but we've also learned if we're not prepared, it can return to the days of lockdowns and closed schools and life not being normal. So there's a real obligation of the Congress to make sure we're prepared, which means immediately having an adequate supply of vaccines, of therapeutics, of testing, so that if, God forbid, the new variant comes, we can go at it right away, go after it right away. Woe be us if we haven't learned the lessons of the previous three. As you know, many of us felt the Trump administration was totally ill-prepared. He was saying, it's not real, it'll go away, and look what happened. We should not repeat that mistake, and I'm very glad on a bipartisan basis we're going to see $15 billion in COVID-prepared funding. It's a really smart investment. We cannot be unprepared if or when the next variant hits. Okay? Across the country, life is returning to normal, thankfully. We want to keep it that way. We want to keep it that way. And only with preparedness can you make sure that happens. We're also addressing another threat, of course, to our way of life. I'm really pleased we're including a robust aid package that will help the people of Ukraine. There is a large chunk of it is humanitarian relief. They lack food, they lack clothing. The Ukrainians lack food, they lack clothing. They lack shelter, electricity, medicines. We must get them these things. There's a Holocaust going on. When you see that people are lined up on buses to just leave a conflict zone, and Putin's artillery shells those buses, that is just below humanity, below dignity. We also need to give the brave Ukrainian fighting forces, who are doing much better than anyone ever imagined, the arms they need, whether it be javelins or stingers or anything else. They need these arms simply to defend themselves against brutal Russian aggression. So, between the omnibus itself, a whole lot better than a CR, COVID relief, and aid for Ukraine, this omnibus, in many ways, meets the great challenges that we live in and must confront right now. Senator Durbin.